this morning, which was an opportunity that I took to thank the police for their work over the last few days, to express my support for the police officers who have been injured and the communities impacted by this mindless thuggery. There are a number of actions that came out of the meeting. The first is we will have a standing army of specialist officers, public duty officers, so that we'll have enough officers to deal with this where we need them. The second is we'll ramp up criminal justice. There have already been hundreds of arrests. Some have appeared in court this morning. I've asked for early consideration of the earliest naming and identification of those involved in the process who will feel the full force of the law. And thirdly, I've been absolutely clear that the criminal law applies online as well as offline, and I'm assured that that's the approach that is being taken. Whatever the apparent motivation, this is not protest, it is pure violence, and we will not tolerate attacks on mosques or our Muslim communities. So the full force of the law will be visited on all those who are identified as having taken part in these activities.
Prime Minister, how quickly can this army of specialist officers you've just told us about bring these violent protests to an end? And where people are apprehended, do we have the courts to process them or the prison cells to put them in?
In relation to the police, I'm absolutely clear that we will have the officers we need where we need them to deal with this disorder. And that is why the standing army has been set up, specialist officers ready to be deployed to support communities. On the question of prisons, firstly, we're monitoring it on a daily basis. I'm appalled that we've been put in this position by the previous government, that is even a discussion, it's even a question that you have to ask me. But we will make this work and ensure that we've got the places that are needed to bring the perpetrators swiftly to justice. So on both those fronts, I'm confident that we can absolutely make sure that those engaged in this activity do feel the full force of the law.
Some MPs have said that a recall of Parliament is necessary. Is that something you're considering?
Look, my focus is on ensuring that we've got the right people carrying out their duties to ensure that our streets are safe. For the public, that is the first duty of government, and that's where my absolute focus is.
So we don't need one at this stage?
No, my focus is on making sure that we stop this disorder, that the criminal sanctions are swift, and be seen to be followed, which is why I've asked for consideration to be given to the earliest identification and naming of those that are involved in this. Many have been arrested, some have been charged, some of them are in court now. We're entitled to know who they are so they can be identified at the first opportunity. But that's where my focus is, and I think the vast majority of people watching this would say that's absolutely where my focus should be.
Prime Minister, Sir Mark Rowley, the Met Commissioner, left this Cobra meeting and was asked a question by a reporter about two-tier policing, which is an accusation made by some people, including the Reform Party. He grabbed the reporter's microphone and appeared to throw it on the ground. Is that an appropriate reaction, and what do you say to these accusations about two-tier policing? There's no two-tier policing. There is policing without fear or favour, exactly as it should be, exactly what I would expect and require. So that is a non-issue. The focus here is not on the apparent motivation of anybody involved in this. This is not protest. This is violence. It's violence on our streets being inflicted and targeted on communities, and we're not going to tolerate that in this country. Can I finally ask you about online? You mentioned that in your Cobra meeting. Should social media companies allow figures like Tommy Robinson, like Andrew Tate, to be on their platforms?
Well, the message from me this morning was very clear in the Cobra meeting, which is the law applies online. So if you're inciting violence, it doesn't matter whether it's online or offline. And therefore, I expect, just as in relation to those that are directly participating on the streets, for there to be arrests and charging and prosecution. Equally, anyone who has been found to have committed a criminal offence online can expect the same response. Thank you very much.
Thank you.